All right, quick introduction to my problem of practice for anyone that doesn't know. Right now, I am trying to develop a system for my school to measure and improve the way that we deliver instruction in the what we call the approaches to learning. So these are skills that students need in order to learn. So things like self-management, research skills, critical thinking skills, these things. So um, in terms of my connections to what Barber is saying in chapter three, I'm going to be honest. It's very difficult for me to make a connection because Barber basically is advocating that the government uh, is the change agent for schools. That government should set out um, the measures and the standards and really should drive change in schools and in public services in general. His basically he's determined that because the government provides money to these places and these people and to teachers and to schools, that they should be the ones to determine success or failure. Um, so, according to him, a government should be able to look at a school and decide if it is an awful school, an adequate school, a good school, or a great school, and how its constituents feel about it. So I have trouble making a connection between his arguments and what I'm trying to do here, and what we're trying to do generally uh, as researchers. As researchers, I think I have the philosophy that we can be the agents of change, that teachers can be the agents of change, that schools can be the agents of their own change, and that we can drive success forward in spite of government, not because of government. So, in terms of its connection to what we're doing here or what I'm trying to do specifically within my problem of practice, it is not driven by the three paradigms that Barber suggests are necessary for change. Whether that's through one of these three models or a combination of those those models. So what he does, what what connection I can make is basically that uh, schools have a innate responsibility to improve the way that they deliver services to the students, uh, to the parents, and to their communities. Um, and that's what I'm trying to do with my problem of practice is just improve how we deliver and how we um, instruct students, not just in academics, but in their life skills and in their ability to become lifelong learners that can adjust to multiple settings and be successful no matter what. So um, within Barber's paper, he determines that by giving data based off of what government has determined is successful, that we will begin to determine who is a successful school, who is a successful teacher, and we can get rid of uh, unsuccessful teachers, I guess, or teachers or schools that are not meeting those expectations that the government has set forward. So um, I don't really know what to say here other than I'm trying to make a connection. Um, I don't want to drag this video out, but I just completely disagree with where Barber's at and where he thinks government's role is in education. Um, his entire paper reads as a justification for why he, as a government official, or why governments in general, should be the prime agents of change. And that just goes against everything that we as researchers, uh, we as educational doctorate students are believe. Um, it's not a government driven system, that the government should not be the agents of change, that the government is not qualified to determine who is successful and who is not successful. Um, The government's role is just not that. By Just because the government collects taxes does not mean that the government has a right or has the ability, maybe that's a better way of saying it, to determine what is a suitable school. Um, would the government fund a school that is based solely on outdoors? What if a school, there's so many alternative options for schooling that the government that would not meet the government's level of expectations, yet are more than successful at creating the types of students needed in a 21st century economy. Um, and I feel like my school is an example of one of those. Yes, it's a private school, but the same program and the same systems are available throughout the world in both public and private sectors. Um, it makes no sense to me, and really, I think he does a poor job of justifying why the government has the right or has the ability to do this, other than they're the ones that give money. Um, he briefly glosses over problems with his uh, with his models, and he generally just uses meaningless language to just say it's successful if we do this. But to me, he we can't measure a student's emotional growth, a student's social growth, and within my problem of practice, all we're trying to do is not say this is the growth, but we're trying to do is say how can we improve how we do this, and it doesn't have to necessarily be measurable. Is what it has to do is it has to be effective. And yes, measuring a student's emotional growth or a student's ability to manage themselves is not going to be easy to measure. It's not going to be easy to collect data on. But I don't know if that's the point of schooling in general, and I don't think that's the point of my research in general. The point of all of these things is to create a situation where students and services to students are improved, and that comes from the local level, from the inside out, not from the outside in. Sorry for not making a better connection, but frankly, I just don't know how I can apply this to my problem of practice. Maybe I'm just missing the point. I'd love to hear your comments. Feel free to hit the feedback form down there at the bottom of the website if you disagree or if you feel like maybe I missed something. Thanks.